Senran Kagura has had many faces for quite some time, starting off as a 2.5D brawler to a 3D muso to a rhythm game to a third-person shooter, a questionable visual novel, and finally a pinball game. Although Senran Kagura Burst Renewal doesn't go all the way back to its roots gameplay-wise and making it 2D, but it is close enough by going back to the 3D muso-esque brawler style of play. As the name implies, Senran Kagura Burst Renewal is a remake of the original Senran Kagura with the expansion/sequel, Senran Kagura Burst. As explained earlier, Renewal is a remake of Burst, so the story is more or less exactly that with no real changes. If you haven't played Burst, there are a couple of things you want to know. For one, the story is split between two perspectives, one from Hanzo, the good ninjas, with the other being the Ebijo, the bad ninjas. The story doesn't really do much outside of the two schools interacting with each other a few times, only for it to be settled in one final confrontation. Which isn't bad per se, it's just very tropey in the end. Much like the developers though, I myself completely forgot how serious the original story was at times, compared to the completely campy nature of later entries. When it comes to combat, this is what Senran does best, and here it delivers in spades. As always, you have your light and heavy attacks, you can also transform to boost your attacks and your defense, and you can use your super moves. Not to mention the tried and true Frantic mode, where you forego all defenses to have the attack boost of a lifetime. As always, you will die in just a few hits on higher difficulties. There are some new additions to the series. One is the burst system. As you deal and take damage, your burst gauge will rise. Once full, you can activate it. Once activated, your damage output will increase even further, and once depleted, you'll automatically use your burst attack, which will deal a significant amount of damage to anybody nearby. The game will also tell you when an attack is incoming and how much range the move has. It's certainly an interesting addition that seemingly can't be turned off, but it makes parrying infinitely easier to manage since you'll always know when someone is coming at you. In terms of levels, things get a little weird since it becomes a middle ground of Burst in the first 3D brawler game Shinobi Versus. In this remake of Burst, the sizes of the maps are extremely truncated compared to Shinobi Versus, let alone Estival Versus. Here maps can be completed in only a few minutes. I can't recall a map that lasted more than 5 or 6 waves of enemies. Even then, a well-placed combo can eliminate a good portion of a wave all on its own. And while it is good to go through a level as fast as possible, most levels contain bonus scroll items which has a lot of lore components in them, which is very nice. These can also be found in breakable items, sometimes normal enemies may be carrying them, and sometimes higher level enemies will be holding onto them as well, so it's always good to keep a sharp lookout. Considering I played this game on PC, it's only fair to discuss my experience with it. To quickly outline my specs, I have an 8700K, 16 gigs of RAM, and a GTX 1070. With this, I was able to achieve 4K 60fps with ease in the highest settings. The only time it goes below 60 seems to be during transformation sequences, and God forbid you face or use someone that mainly uses projectiles like Mirai or even Yomi. If you do, expect to go from 60 to the middle of 40s for a brief moment. The upgraded final boss battle will also tank the frame rates to the same extent as well. There are some technical issues in the PC side though. There are some text bugs such as the game telling you that you failed a mission when you actually succeeded, but the main one I face is that when you're unplugging the controller, it will cause the game to crash immediately unless it was out of focus. Also, it should be noted that you can only change the graphics settings in-game, which you have access to after doing the first mission in either school. While I won't give away how the new Orochi fights work, I would kill for a remake of 2 or for more of that in 7. It was marvelous. However, what wasn't so marvelous was the fact that the character-driven side stories aren't here in place of general missions. Granted, it was like that in Burst, but it is a shame to see that it's gone. Same with multiplayer, although the game tended to quickly die off after launch, so it may not have been worth it in the long run. Overall, I had a really good time coming back to the series after the last entry left a bad taste in my mouth. One might even say my faith has been renewed. Outside of some technical issues that can easily be patched out, it felt really good to come back to the start of the franchise with a couple of gameplay tweaks. Honestly, If this is meant to be a preview for how 7 is to play, I can't wait. And that does it for our review of Senran Kagura Burst Renewal. To see the written review, be sure to check out our website, gaminggamma.com. If you have any comments for me about this review or any questions, by all means leave them down in the comments section below. I would love to hear from you. Also, if you're new to my channel, finding me out for the first time through this review, hey, be sure to subscribe for future reviews, commentaries, let's plays, and more. And I'd like to thank all of my patrons on Patreon for making today's review possible. And as always everyone, thanks for watching.